What is up, guys? Wraith here, Grey Bearded Gaming Society. So we are popping back out of the tunnel here in the Warslicks Woods with our eyes set firmly upon heading over towards the Frontier Mountains. Now, it's going to be a bit of a run, only because we don't have SO or anything like that. But it should be mostly uneventful. We're hoping so anyway. Like I said, our plan is we're going to hop across here, back over to over there, then loop around to the bottom over there, and pop out on the north side of the Frontier Mountains. And from there, try to sneak our way down around to the middle and, you know, check out some potential giant fort action. We, from everything I understand, I mean, one, you know, we're not in some big hurry. It should be a good big adventure, but at the same time, it's there should be some externals that we can pick off. We'll have much better chances, at least, again, my understanding is we'll have much better chances at the famous earring that they can drop. Because while these guys can drop it, we have yet to have seen any on multiple toons. And of course, for those who remember, Stink was out here for quite a while. Even after he fell from the challenge, he actually spent some time out here and never saw a single one of those earrings. So if we get our hands on some of those, that would not be a bad find. But one, because Stinky might still need them, but two, also they still sell pretty decently. And we're not going to carry on the rest of this stuff. But, so yeah, off we go to take on, like I said, slightly bigger giants. A slightly bigger zone. There should be some other things we can thump on as well. I think the other, of course, famous portions of Frontier Mountains, of course, are Droga and things like that, which I don't think, unless we get invited to some kind of group, that we'll be brave enough to try to messing around with that. But we are going to head that way, guys. So let's go skipping through the forest, shall we? Alright, gang, we have arrived in the Frontier Mountains. Thankfully, it didn't, even without SO, it didn't take all that long. By all that long, I mean, you know, just a mere 12 to 15 minutes. But anyhoozle, I had actually forgotten how gigantically large just the access tunnel is. But yeah, so the thing I remember, it's a big zone. We will have to be careful. There are some stuff in here that obviously everything wants to eat us. But what we're going to try to do is we're going to come out, we're going to zip and kind of stick to the wall, because of course there are no paths or like that in here. This is one of those zones where you kind of either have to know some landmarks, know your way around, which I'm not amazing at, as we've seen for the past several years. It's I definitely am one of those people who fell in love with hitting M and having a map pop up. But what I do remember basically is we're going to try to loop right here. We're going to try to loop around to this early direction, right about here, like a soap. And we're basically going to go all the way back around until we come to the next tunnel, basically. So there's actually, you know what? We're right here. This is the kind of giant guy that we're actually going to be after. Are going to be these guys, the mountain giants. So we're going to give this guy, ninja star. Going to give this guy a taste here. And like I said, this was one of the spots recommended by our buddy Dolioak. It was like, he leveled here from this range to this range. It should be a good spot. At the same time, again, we're a monkey. We can take a fight. We can go off to the side. We can mend. We can bandage. We can feign death. Assuming that it works. And obviously, we didn't have the best luck with it last week. But so far, like I said, we're holding our own pretty well. We have not had to use mend. I know there are obviously different size giants everywhere. But we will, if this is any good factor, we'll pretty much be like it was when we got to the giant fort in Worslick's Woods. Hopefully, these guys will just drop more loot for us. Because, I gotta say, like, of the loot items that we've been discussing, we chased after an earring to play with and some stuff like that, I am seriously wondering, guys, and maybe it's too soon, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, maybe I'm getting kind of lazy, maybe I'm getting spoiled when I play Stink, but I'm like, do we save up the cash and buy a J-Boots multi-quest? It's, it's about 5K, do we just start working in that direction? I know the things like permanently camped anyway. It'd be a long time before we could do it ourselves. So there we go. Decent experience. Not a ton of cash, but decent enough little fight. So we are going to sneak our way around the zone wall here. We're going to try to basically go this way until we run into the next zone area, which would be the Lakeaville Omen. And from there we can come basically straight out, and it should run us into the fort. And obviously, as you can see, they weren't lying when they said it was La Montaña, the mountains. Like, everything in the zone is straight up and down. Maybe we'll get lucky and get some safe fall practice as we traverse. But I will save you guys me working around through this, and we'll have us another little tiny run montage. I'll catch up with you guys about the time that we're getting the walls of the giant fort in sight. So obviously we found someone else to join our fan club. There's some form of goblin adept. We couldn't even see the little guy anywhere we looked. So even when we stood up, we looked behind us, still couldn't see him. Excuse me. And we're currently all kind of debuffed. And of course, Scourge, I think, is a total of like 500 damage. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, this guy has debuffed us everywhere. Little turd. But I still have not been able to actually see where he's at. Now, we should be heading at least in the proper direction. I've been trying to be very careful to make sure that we're facing westward, straight out of kind of the Lake of Illumin, and that's south. It's so easy, again, especially in this zone where so much stuff goes up and down in these crazy directions. It is so very easy in here to lose one's way. Right, so the first thing we're gonna do, let's bind wound ourselves a little again, because that little guy was quite dangerous. Aside from the debuffs, put the dot on us. He did nuke us for 250 right there. Little nuisance. Good times. Thankfully, when we get to the giant forts, giants aren't casters. At least not these giants, so we won't have to worry about that stuff. Alrighty then, so I'm going to put myself back together here, hopefully right here where it's somewhat safe, because I haven't seen anything come through yet. And then we'll catch back up in just a minute as we get to the giant fort. Stick around, because watching Bind Wound is boring. Alright, gang, we are here. We have arrived. Technically, we arrived a little while ago. But there are a couple people out here doing some things, so we want to be careful. We're not, obviously we're not here to step on any toes and make a nuisance of ourselves. We also decided to go ahead and just kind of camp it and wait. And we hung out. See if we can sneak past this guy, because I know there's been a guy outside killing some stuff. So let's sneak around in here. Let's see. Should be plenty of giants in here for us to mess with. We're going to start with this fancy guy right by the wall here, because I don't see anybody else inside. Which maybe we're going to get yelled at in a second, and somebody's going to start screaming how the place is camped and everything like that. But we're here, and we haven't seen anybody inside. Like I said, we know there's a couple people outside. But yeah, we decided we went ahead and waited outside. Let's go ahead and heal all the way up. Let's hit our mend. Let's just wait till we got our skills back. Wait till those nasty debuffs wore off. Because, man, there was a whole lot of red strapped across that that line there. The only one we have now, of course, is the negative. Wait, so what is that? What's making us a negative on our intellect? I mean, well, I guess I better pay attention, huh? Since we're actually supposed to be fighting over here. Honestly, don't know where that's coming from right now. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. So yeah, like I said, we're here. We have arrived. Apparently, we're gonna get a lot of repulse skills. They said these guys can hit. Excuse me. But we're going. We should get this guy walking here in a minute. Well, better not be a minute. Better be a quick moment. Like I said, we'll have to take our time. This is not a place where we're just going to roll in and annihilate the world, so to speak. I mean, these guys are big. They have a lot of hit points. They will soak up a lot of damage. So we will have to be very careful. But it's also one of those spots, again, if there's not like a group in here or something like that, we can really take our time. We can fight a guy. We can sit back down. We can, bind wound, or we can just mend. We can feign death. However we want to do it. But we, it's the guys outside that are more contested. And because like when I looked earlier, I mean, there are a handful of people in zone. Several of them I know are right outside because I've seen them. So again, we'll let them do their thing. We'll mess around in here some and see how it goes. We're going to bandage ourselves back up and pick a couple more fights, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, so funnily enough, there's actually another monkey now running around in here doing monkey business. Where did you go? You come with me. I want to be out here where I can see where things are happening. But yeah, so like I said, it's one of those things. I mean, there's a decent amount of downtime between the fights. We haven't tried to mess with one of the green guys. I saw green guys at the Hillocks, I believe it is, or green. It's the one. He's going after the guys who are a little bit smaller. We're going after these guys. But again, we'll see how we do. Again, there's quite a bit of downtime if they start putting some shots on us. Because I mean, they do hit decently hard, and obviously we don't have any buffs. But some of the times when we just pull ahead nicely, it just speed us up a little bit. So I think we'll be in decent shape. We just have to be careful, right? I mean, that's the name of the game. Obviously, when you set up this kind of challenge, it's always the name of the game. But getting back out here would stink just a little bit, I do believe. But yeah, like I said, with this guy, much smoother than the previous one. So I'm assuming, based on that they probably got, you know, several level range, and the other guy just had a, you know, a level. He was probably at the top end of what they could do. And again, if we're super lucky, we can get our hands on one of those earrings, or actually multiples. It would be super nice. I mean, you know, in a perfect little world, I would absolutely love to see several of those things. Let's see if we can take a couple of these guys back to back. We're going to pull this guy over here again, away from his buddies, because that's the last thing we need. Is multiples. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if we can get our hands on several of those earrings, I mean, the way that I'm thinking about it right now, that based on what we were talking about last week, was not only could we you know, make a little bit of cash off of it, possibly hand let's go and do this now, possibly hand one or two to our buddy Stinky, who could definitely use the upgrade. But you know, one of the things that we are looking to do with this guy, kind of in the short term, is I think we are going to get some of the fighting sticks. They're super lightweight. They're one hand. We need to work on our other skills, and I think there'd be a great opportunity to do it. Plus, they've got a pretty good proc. We need to get a couple of good shots on this guy. We're pulling way more even than I was hoping for here. Granted, we did try for a couple back-to-back to see how we did. A couple of good shots. I think we'll have him walking. But yeah, we eyeballed some weapon upgrades, like for the staff. And honestly, like, those are just so very expensive. Like, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon from what I've... No. See if we can take this guy out and then feign the other guy off. That'll be the plan. Because he's going to aggro, that's for sure. Do that. Do one of these. And nope. Yay, go team. I was terrified we were going to say and nope, and Bayonetta was going to be like, double nope, sucker. But we made it. But yeah, so, like I said, we you know, we're really thinking about taking, again, not of just advice of the community, but also the advice of you know, again, more experienced monks than we are, and trying to pick up a pair of the Master Wu trance sticks. They're decently cheap. We've seen them for up under 100 plat a couple of times now. You know, they're one hand blunt. They're really lightweight, but they're also super fast. They proc the smite, which is a pretty decent hit, and if we're dual wielding them, you know, we might be able to really make something out of it. And I think it'd be a good way to get our one-hand blunt skill back up, which that one, of course, has fallen off quite substantially, and our hand-to-hand is just embarrassing. We've really never done hand-to-hand, so somebody's supposed to be the martial arts experts. Once we locked into this staff, we just never let this thing go, because we've just been pummeling things with the quivering staff, which again has just been super-duper nice. But we're going to heal back up, get back at it here in a few more minutes, and, you know, hopefully get some loot. Yeah, okie dokie. So we have found, like, so a lot of the hillocks are actually green. This guy's blue, which tells, and we just ran out. Apparently there's a group forming up right there. We might need to, like, not do that again. We don't want to be that guy if we can help it. Or, you know, maybe they can use a monk. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, like I said, I think... Ow! So some of these guys are green. Some of these guys are blue. I'm guessing that this means even the green ones will probably give us some experience. I mean, you might want to beat them up too, which would be quite useful for the cause. Because anything that can keep us going will be handy. Let's see if we can't get this guy even further away. That's what I was worried about. He was going to walk immediately back in front of his friend. See if we can get him down before we get aggro here, because we don't want to have to worry about that. There we go. We'll get some toes for our time, and then we'll get back out of their way and find a empty spot to sit over here and flop until we get some hit points back. Be honest, I think this is going to be a good spot for us. I really do. It's going to be a patience game. It's not going to be rapid fire, but we're also getting into that level range, I think, really with the melee character, where we're just going to have less and less of those opportunities, quite honestly, with just the way that the game works. I mean, we don't have spells to keep things at a distance. We're not fear kiting. We're not pet kiting. We're not pet chaining. We're not snaring and dotting and running away. We have to be able to engage, front to back. So it's going to be one of those spots where we're going to have to go with guys who are, lower on the spectrum, right? We're not going to go going toe-to-toe with yellow mobs. It's just probably not going to happen. We would need some serious twink items that we seriously can't afford to get that stuff done. But like I said, we're going to pal around for a little while longer. Like I said, the experience bar is moving pretty decently, pretty decent chunks of experience when you take these guys out. We're going to sit around for a little while longer, kill hopefully a couple more of these guys, and, we will check in at least one more time to put a cap on the video. But we're here, we're at a new hunting ground, and we'll see what we can do with it. All right, gang, so we've been at it for a little while, nothing too insane. I think we're sneaking up on about 40% through level. We, it is, you get a chunk at a time of experience, which is nice, but it is, again, somewhat slow. Because, again, obviously, they're giants. They soak up a lot of damage, and they also, in most opportunities, get a lot of damage back on us. Well, again, which is fine. I mean, it's slow and consistent, and we can get that stuff knocked out. Right now, we're slowly but surely getting surrounded. Apparently, this spot is very popular. There's a bunch of other soloers. I think somebody's trying to start up like a small group. But again, we're moving along. We can't complain. Loot-wise, it's mostly gems and everything. We do have like 3 emeralds so far, which I thought those sold decently well. We got a piece of fine steel that we had on our way over. And we got like the one little, I want to say, earring drop, but it's not the good earring drop. It's just that thing, which I think sells for like a plat or something. Obviously, we're always on the holdout, hoping that we get the spiffy super cool earring. That'll help fund new fun weapons and toys. But I think we're going to go ahead and call it there for the week, guys. Like I said, it's been a good adventure. We're going to pick up here next week. Keep doing some farming. Hopefully, as we get a little bit more experience and a little bit more levels under our belts, then we'll be able to progress through the area even faster. And you know how it goes, kind of the snowballing approach, so to speak. But like I said, as always, guys, if you like what we're doing, please don't forget to like, comment, maybe drop a subscribe down below. But until next time, guys, stay safe, stay distant, stay in EverQuest, and we'll see you guys next week. Night, guys.